Greetings, friends. Reformed Stoic, back again with a video. So I've had a few different ideas for videos kind of bouncing around in my head lately. Last couple of days haven't been so great. Last few streams haven't been so great. It's actually not a bad habit that I've created where just when I'm not in a good mood on stream, I just fucking sit there and stare at the camera or stare at my computer, stare into space, and just don't say anything. It's better than my old method of going completely unhinged and saying a bunch of shit that people use against me. So, yeah, that's whatever. It's not really important to like announce whether or not I'm going to stream or when I'm going to stream, but it's been the same cycle. Like, you know, I stop streaming for a while and then I come back and then it's renewed and then I slowly start streaming every day again and then I get completely fucking burnt out and then take time away again. I'm thinking we're going to do the Thanksgiving weekend. So tomorrow's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like, it's not really Thanksgiving, but when you go to school and it's Thanksgiving, you get 4 days off. I'm going to take a Thanksgiving weekend off of streaming. I need to regroup, regather some energy. But of all the video ideas I had, I figured I would announce that I am sieging the dream world. It is time to really, focus on lucid dreaming. It has been so elusive to me my entire life. I've always been a vivid dreamer. I've, for the most part, always remembered my dreams. Anybody who's smoked weed before has probably noticed that screws up your ability to have dreams or remember your dreams. I definitely remember a number of instances where I would be on a family vacation in my weed smoking days and then not being able to have access to weed, and then all of a sudden you're like, boom, having these really vivid dreams. Now, when you become a chronic weed smoker, or I think that's a little bit dramatic, like a daily weed smoker, I don't think I was ever a chronic weed smoker. That's somebody who smokes very large quantities of weed. There's people that were trying to spread rumors about me that I smoked very large quantities of weed. Fake news was never a thing. I had a tiny little pipe, loaded a tiny little bowl. I was able to make a gram last like 2 weeks or something, probably longer. It got to a point where it was quite the opposite. But I did smoke every single day, multiple times throughout the day. But the point is that once you're a daily smoker, then yeah, like you're probably going to have dreams if you're a dreamer, but it's going to be diminished. When I was a part of Dragon Rouge, which I've gone over in great detail to an extent, I mean, pretty much everything there was to be said about it, I said in my video on the Blue Dragon and my Kundalini Awakening. That was part of the curriculum, was to try to take control of your dreams. Part of what we did was set alarms to go off throughout the night, like just wake yourself up in the middle of the night and then go back to sleep. That can help you have a vivid dream. A lot of what it was to like help you have vivid dreams. They instructed you to keep a dream journal. One of the things I did was that I took African dream root, I believe is what it's called. Somebody on the Wizard forums way back in like 2016, I wanted instruction on how to become a shaman. And that's what they said. Is like, first what you're going to want to do is take African dream root. One of the first dreams I had, I kid you not, was that I was in a circle with a bunch of like tribal black guys, like in a cabin. It seemed like some kind of like jungle initiation type of shit. But what happened after I took that African dream root was I started having a lot of dreams about home invasions. Like if you've ever seen movies like Last House on a Dead End Street, I don't really think Last House on the Left, like I faintly remember Last House on a Dead End Street. It's like an entire genre of nasty horror exploitation films from like the 70s, like Home Invasion. Not especially creative, like real life shit. Like a group of thugs just breaks into your home, and then the whole fucking movie is them terrorizing the family. I had a lot of dreams like that after I took African Dream Route. Like really terrifying dreams where somebody comes into the house and it's just like a horrible hostage torment situation for the entire dream. I had terrifying nightmares. One of the only lucid dreaming experiences I can remember, there's like two off the top of my head. One was when I was a little kid. I was having a dream about some sort of like a phantom witch type of thing. I've had dreams that are so terrifying that I realize that I'm dreaming, and then I just try to wake up. I just try to escape. I remember like when I was a kid, what I would do is like in the dream, like close my eyes really hard and then open them, and then close my eyes really hard and open them again, and then I'd be opening my eyes in my bed in real life. But then after reading a Carlos Castaneda book, The Art of Dreaming, that goes into detail about this experience or this method. So what you want to do is look at your hands every day. And I talked about this in the portal maxing video, and I was going to check in on that a little bit, but we'll get to that in a minute. You want to look at your hands throughout the day and then say, am I dreaming? Now what I found is this, for whatever reason, is an incredibly difficult habit to create. We'll get back into that in a minute. Look at your hands throughout the day, am I dreaming? And then in a dream you do that, and you'll realize that you're dreaming because your hands are weird. I had a dream that I was at a friend's house who lived in Anchorage, and there was these two kids that were like, these two like young boys. They're like 8, and I was, you know, as old as I was, 25 or whatever. And they were just incredibly strong. Like they were as strong as grown men, but they were little boys. And then at some point in the dream, like I realized that, you know, I just like slammed their heads on a table. I slammed both of their heads on a table and took them both out. And I had blood on my hands, and I looked at my hands. I was like, whoa, I'm dreaming. And that was the only fucking time like it ever worked. I maybe have one faint dream memory of that happening again, but this is the only one I remember vividly. And what happened in that dream was I woke up in a different dream in that same house. And so in the Carlos Castaneda book, it says that you're going to wake up in another dream. And then you have to look for somebody in the dream that doesn't belong. And then they will be a spirit guide that takes you to the realm of inorganic beings. And then in that realm, you can make some sort of a deal. And it's in the book, The Art of Dreaming. And it sounds like, you know, like it's a bad deal. Like you probably shouldn't do it. Now, what's my view on that now? Well, for one, I've never been able to really get lucid dreaming to work my entire life. So I don't really know. But intuitively, I've heard really mixed things about Carlos Castaneda. Those books were also recommended by Dragon Rouge. Dragon Rouge instructed you to read all of the Carlos Castaneda books. I read quite a bit of them. There was like a few that I haven't got to. But I'm under the impression intuitively that it's a little bit overrated, at least in terms of like lucid dreaming. I wouldn't take Carlos Castaneda's method. I think that's like a fictional book where it kind of just gave you a specific thing. But yeah, like I imagine, because I've heard a lot of different perspectives on lucid dreaming, like that's going to be a launching pad for astral projection. And, you know, obviously people like Christians say that you should stay away from these kind of things. Actually, randomly, there's a channel that I watch, Pygmy, on the internet. I found him on YouTube. I found him because I was trying to learn how to break dance. And he's got these really old, like, breakdancing videos. He was a badass Chad breakdancer. He made a video about lucid dreaming. And apparently he was, like, pretty successful in being able to figure out how to do it pretty quickly. But he had sleep paralysis experiences, which apparently are also connected to lucid dreaming. I have a aunt in my family who just randomly told me that she had night terrors once. That was like right before I moved to Vegas. And hearing about that phenomenon of like waking up in the middle of the night, having something on your stomach like staring at you, or like some people say they see a gray alien, or they see some shit that's like staring at them. Just like hearing that was a thing kind of scared me. And I felt like I had a couple of experiences that were like kind of close to it. Like one time I remember just waking up. It happens when I'm lying on my back and just like kind of hearing like a witch laughing or something. But I've never had like the really dramatic experience of like being paralyzed, seeing something. I had some experiences in Kodiak that weren't really sleep paralysis, but I've had paranormal experiences related to sleep in my life. So I've had all these glimpses. I mean, vivid dreamer my entire life. I'm keeping a dream journal again. I fell off for a long time. Now, what I've noticed is that I say that there's like a mysterious force that doesn't want you to write in your dream journal. That sounds kind of, cheesy or whatever. But it just seems like what happens is you wake up and you make all these excuses. You're like, yeah, I remember my dream, but that dream's just not really worth writing down. And then halfway through the day, like, you forgot your dream. You're like, dude, why didn't I write my dream down? Like, you try to remember it. It's like, I don't remember it at all. Why didn't I write it down? I knew I remembered it this morning. And then I remember some half-ass excuse. Like, I just don't really feel like it right now because, I don't know, that dream wasn't... I mean, it's just like there's something that doesn't want you to do it. And what I find is that the days just fly by, and then before you know it, 2 months have gone by, and I haven't written in my dream journal. So I'm about like a couple weeks strong again writing in it, maybe like a week. And that's the first step. What you find is that helps you remember your dreams. That helps you have more vivid dreams. And that's the first step of lucid dreaming. Now, to give you guys an update on portal maxing, I fell out of it for a long time. I felt like I used to have like a pretty solid habit of like cranking it before going to sleep. Now it's more of like an every once in a while thing. I find now like my temptation times are closer to like, the hour or two after the gym or earlier in the evening. Like I really just created the habit of not being a pre-bedtime cranker anymore. And part of that I think I owe to portal maxing. That's kind of how it started. I was telling you guys something about portal maxing at night just gives me a little extra something where I don't feel I need to crank it. That's old news. That's ancient history. I fell off of the portal maxing. So where I'm at with portal maxing now, you can just look up my portal maxing videos if you haven't seen them. You can just watch the short clip one. That one actually has a lot of views. That kind of caught on, I think, in like the X community on 4chan a little bit. But you can do that in bed. You can do that like just while you're falling asleep. My nighttime routine, I'm a complete night owl, but I don't have insomnia or anything like that. I'm pretty good at falling asleep. Part of my supplement stack is L-theanine. And then earlier in the day, I take like rosea something. I don't know. I'll put it in the description. It's like rosea. But L-theanine is just like a really light, like herb, natural, kind of like in the ballpark of an anti-anxiety beta blocker kind of a thing. Obviously not nearly as extreme. It's one of those really subtle things where you probably don't even notice it, but you just take it. But I've found that ever since I've started taking that before bed, maybe it just helps just a tiny bit, and that's all I really need. I do not recommend melatonin because once you start taking melatonin, you'll get to a point where it's just like you've taken it every night for a very, very, very long time, and then it just doesn't really do anything anymore. And then if you don't have it, then you can't sleep. I took melatonin in the past, but yeah, I don't know. And I sleep on a couch. I sleep on the couch in the living room. It just works. What I do is like I put on like a video. I really like Spiritual Renaissance. He's kind of one of my go-tos for put on one of his like 20-minute videos, maybe like 3 in the morning. That's on a really good night that I get to bed at a reasonable hour for me. Put that on, lay down, halfway listening to it, halfway not. I'd say like 70% of the time I get through the entire video and then close the laptop and just fall asleep. I always have my air conditioner going. In the winter when I don't need air conditioner, I have the fan going. I really need that like consistent shh. That's, I think, kind of like an autism thing. I don't necessarily know if I have autism. We've been there a number of times on this channel, but it's like a clock, like tick, tick, tick. That will drive me insane. I can't sleep if that's happening. But a consistent white noise, like shh, that's amazing. That's bliss. I love having like something like that always going. That helps me sleep. So having the fan going, laying down with a video, I find that I'm pretty consistent at being able to go to bed. So while you're in bed, you know, the 20 minutes leading to you falling asleep or whatever, you can just portal max in bed. The rule of the astral realm is your visualization is interacting with the astral realm. Now, what the guy, I can't even remember his name, the guy that I learned about portal maxing from, you know, he's saying that like when he does it, he's staring at the wall, like I described in the portal maxing video, staring at the wall, and then eventually you kind of just like blank out, your eyes naturally close, and then you're officially there. What you're gonna find is like you're kind of like faking it a little bit, kind of like on a Ouija board where it's like somebody's kind of moving it, you know, but you're kind of just going with the flow. I almost find it's like just better to just visualize while you're laying down in bed, you know, because it's like you're not faking it, you're just being real about it. It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna visualize myself entering this portal, encountering the astral nasty things, and then portal maxing on them. And you know, typically I will just do like one, you know, you'll just find one ugly creature that you come across and then you fucking portal max on it, and then I imagine myself jumping up really high and then out of the portal, and then I open my eyes real quick and then close them to kind of like reset. But yeah, in conclusion, you can portal max in bed before you go to sleep. Sure, I'll try to like make sure I do that every night. Why not? I've gotten to a point where like, do I think portal maxing is really important? I'd be very interested to try to do it in a dream at this point. Like, I would just say lucid dreaming is the goal. Portal maxing is kind of strange, obscure, try it, sure, whatever. We're taking over the dream realm, guys. This is something that has just eluded me for such a long time. I went to some spiritual mumbo jumbo last year and talked to some people, and you know, this person was speaking highly of me being a Pisces and saying that like Pisces is often your last incarnation because like you're at the end of the zodiac or whatever. And I was checking all these boxes and she was impressed with me, but I haven't lucid dreamed. You know, I haven't been able to lucid dream, and it just seems like maybe I'm advanced in all these other areas, but the lucid dreams have just eluded me my entire life. Okay, so not quite 20 minutes yet. So what's my plan? And why would my plan matter if I've not been successful with it? Because that mysterious force that doesn't want me to write in my dream journal also has continued to stifle me to do what I know that you need to do to make lucid dreaming work. The original thing I tried is just like randomly throughout the day, you remember to look at your hands, am I dreaming? But that habit just does not stick. So here's what you do. You do that, am I dreaming, look at your hands, but there's certain events throughout the day that you have to create the habit of triggering that, and it's called a reality check. The portal maxing guy says, like, look at an object, look away, say, am I dreaming, and then look back at the object. Whatever. I mean, for me, I had a little bit of success with the hands. The hands is good enough. but you have to connect it to things. And it has to be throughout the entire day, and it's like brute forcing it. And with the dream journal, it's just not that hard. You just tell yourself when you wake up in the morning, write down your damn dream. You didn't like it, it was boring, it didn't matter to you, write it down. Like, you get frustrated and you're like, okay, dude, I feel like somebody's like tricking me into not writing the dream journal. I'm writing down my fucking dream. Like, that's all that it gets to with that. But with this, it's like every time you interact with a light switch, now what's gonna happen is you're gonna say, oh, I'm gonna do that, and you'll never do it one time ever. You'll completely forget. So what you have to do is, as soon as you decide that, go around your house and practice it. Go to every room in the house and turn off it and on the light switch, and then right after you turn the lights on, look at your hands. Am I dreaming? And then go into another room and do it. Go to another room. That's not going to be enough. Every time I flush the toilet. So then as soon as you say that, go flush the toilet. Am I dreaming? Like, you have to create a number of them. The light switch isn't enough. The toilet isn't enough. I'm going to do it for my drums. Every time I start and stop drumming. Every time I get in my car. I think that's a big one. Because in my dreams, I'm driving a lot. In my dream last night, my brakes weren't working. There was 2 different instances where, like, one of them, I was driving, like, fucking A, dude, how do I even describe this? Like, my head was, like, by the pedals, and my feet were in the air, and I was, like, slowly rolling through an alley, and these girls, like, looked really annoyed, like, I'm in the alley, and I was, like, slowly, like, running them over, and I'm holding a fucking empty vodka bottle, because I chugged a 5th of vodka right before I started driving, in my dream, and then my head is by the pedals, but somehow I can see out the window, and then I'm trying to, like, push the vodka bottle against the fucking brakes, and it's not working. This is part of the reason I don't write my dreams down, bro. And these last couple of days, I attribute part of my being bummed out these last couple of days. It's like, what the fuck are these dreams, dude? Like, the night before last night, it was that I was cuddling with this girl, and it was really depressing, because it was a girl, you know, she's one of the ones that got away. Then last night, it was that I was on YouTube, and then some fucking horrible video opened up. It's where somebody was screaming, and I couldn't fucking turn it off. And it was horrible. And I'm just like, you know what? Fuck these dreams. I'm getting in there. Like, I'm pissed off at my dreams, dude, and it's time. I'm sieging the dream world, bro. And the pygmy guy on YouTube was like, oh, I had sleep paralysis, and it screwed up my sleep, and I had to stop. It's like, no offense, bro, you're a normie. He's a normie. He's a really cool channel. I really like his channel, but he's a Chad, and he's married, and, like, he's only so deep, bro. Like, I'm ready for this. I've always been ready for this. And, yeah, so I know that this is the method, you know? I mean, sure, I'll try it, and if it doesn't work, then whatever. But logically, it gets to a point where in your dream, these hardwired habits, everyday things, it's going to bleed into your dream. Especially, I know the car is gold, dude. Every time you get in the car, am I dreaming? Like, look at your hands in the car, hands in front of the steering wheel. Because I'm driving in my dreams a lot. What's weird is, like, a big thing for me, a big part of why I failed in Vegas is because I was afraid to drive in the city. And I overcame that. Like, it's fucking huge, dude. Like, since I've moved, I have gotten to a point where I just drive everywhere like a regular fucking person. And I'm embarrassed about it. And, like, that's a whole nother fucking video, dude. But I overcame it. And what's weird is, like, I had a lot of dreams, like, before I was driving in the city about driving in the city. And anyway, it's funny, there's, like, normie advice, like, don't talk about dreams because it weirds people out. I mean, this is kind of like an unhinged video, but you need to create, like, 10 different habits. Like, this is a full-on assault. If you've kind of tried to lucid dream and it's always just kind of slipped through your fingers, this is like fucking boots on the ground, 50 soldiers kicking a door in, and like we are like occupying the dream realm, dude. It's over. We're not half-assing it anymore. Every time you open a drawer, am I dreaming? Every time I sit down on the drums, boom, hands in front of my drum set. Am I dreaming? I have a lot of dreams about playing drums. Am I dreaming? In the car. Am I dreaming? Turn a light switch off as soon as you turn it back on. Am I dreaming? And instead of just saying, oh, I'm going to do that next time I turn off the light switch, you're going to forget by the next time. Like, you're not going to be turning a light switch off until like 2 hours later, until you like declare you're going to do it. You literally have to like take a little tour throughout your entire house and go fucking toggle the light switches and say, am I dreaming? Every time. You have to blunt force these habits, or they will not stick. Or they will not stick. Car, drum set, toilet, light switch, television. Every time I open my laptop, like, and then on top of that, set an alarm to go off every fucking hour, and then every time that alarm goes off, am I dreaming? To where basically it's an obsessive thing that you do all day long, every single day. That's where it has to get. It's an obsessive thing all day long, every single day. You are always asking yourself, am I dreaming? And looking at my hands and associating it with different activities. You're going to be in a dream, you're going to be in a car, and you're going to think, well, am I dreaming? And then I've heard a number of things. You know, my sister told me something once. She said she had a dream where she realized she was dreaming, and she told somebody in her dream that she was dreaming, and then everybody in the dream just like looked over at her. Which is so crazy, dude, because it's like gang stalking. It's like, I've woken up in this fucking, like I woke up in real reality and got attacked by real reality. It's about time I woke up in a fucking dream, dude. Like, oh no, I'm gonna get attacked in my dream, bro. I've been attacked in fucking real reality. Like, I am sieging the fucking dream world, dude. I'm not gonna get bummed out by my dreams anymore. My dreams are gonna get bummed out by me, dude. So, I know that that's how you do it. And I have just failed to create this habit. You're like, oh, that's a good idea. Every time I toggle a light switch, I'm gonna do it. I literally didn't do it once. Not once. Somebody in my chat said that. Like, yeah, man, every time you flip off and on a light switch, I'm gonna do that. I didn't do it once. I didn't do it once. Seriously, dude. And you just start looking at that and you're like, it's like something doesn't want me to do it. And it's because you have to do it. Bro, I mean, there's people out there that are basically saying, like, when you die, you're in that dream state. So all of this, like, soul trap stuff, like, you get the life review, and they try to trick you into your soul contracts and all that. The only way, in theory, you're going to be able to deal with that properly, to even have a chance of dealing with that properly, which nobody seems to really have an answer for, is to master your dreams. And there's a lot of different stuff. I mean, yeah, once you start... I just feel like it opens the door for a lot of things. Astral travel, astral projection, different kinds of manifestation maybe. Maybe it's like going to help you take control of your real fucking life, bro. And it should really piss you off when it's like, what has been keeping me from why can't I figure this out? Because you can't create this fucking habit. Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? Like, write a list of things and then go practice those things. Like, what's the next thing you're gonna fucking do? Play video games? Every time I play video games. Like, it needs to be shit that you're gonna do it so quickly that you don't forget. It should basically just be anytime you do anything. Like, it should become an obsessive thing. It's not going to cause you any damage. It's not going to hurt you. You probably have other fucking obsessive thoughts. Hell, half of these people who watch sad content on the internet, I feel like every fucking label for it could get my videos taken down at this point. You probably have obsessive thoughts about how you think you're a fucking loser or something. So, just throw another one on the pile. Like, Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? Going into the bathroom? Am I dreaming? Cooking food? Am I dreaming? Sitting down on the couch? Am I dreaming? Changing the channel? Am I dreaming? 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 All day long. There's a lot of shit in your life that like bums you out, dude. There's a lot of like it's over every time you get mogged by a Chad. Am I dreaming? Every time a girl like makes a face like that at you. Am I dreaming? Every time somebody normie is passive aggressive to you. Am I dreaming? You have to obsess over it, dude, because it has to become something that is just a part of you. Because you know that that shit bleeds over into your dreams. You know it bleeds over into your dreams, dude. And then at some point in your dreams, and a lot of the people who are really good at lucid dreaming say it's difficult for them still. It's difficult for people. I probably should read like an entire book about it. I already have. In the past, I've read books that touch up on it, but I think some of the things that I've tried, like I was trying to read a book about like astral projection, and it tells you to like hold the vision of a red triangle in your mind. There was times when I was doing that while I was falling asleep, and I found that that helped my dreams become more vivid. But what I'm getting the idea of is that that stuff will come once you conquer your dreams, once you become lucid in your dreams. This Taoist book I was reading, The Dragon Gate, that's kind of insinuating that like you need to obtain like a really high level of mastery. I'm not gonna lie, guys, there's aspects of Taoism that I like, but as a complete system, I gotta say, like, part of trying really hard to get into Taoism is kind of pushing me back into Christian mysticism. I think Christian mysticism overall has a much better complete system. There's certain things from Taoism, and what I'm finding is I think there's a lot of grifters. There's a lot of people that have sensational stories. You find it in Tibetan Buddhism. You find it in Hinduism, Taoism, Hinduism, Tibetan Buddhism, all have these like very sensational stories of he's an immortal, or the stories of the Shaolin warriors who can like get kicked in the balls and stuff, and like I think a lot of it is a scam. I'm sorry, I get like a really scammy vibe from a lot of this stuff, and you know, people will talk about like, oh, well, churches are a scam, but I'm talking about like Christian esotericism. I'm talking about like Christian mysticism. My respect for Christian mysticism has actually gone up by trying to get into other things. So I'm leveling up in my spiritual journey. I do respect Taoism. What's my advice on Taoism? Can't go wrong with Confucius, Lao Tzu, Shang Tzu, Tao Te Ching, 101, bro. When it comes to Taoism, meat and potatoes, Tao Te Ching, Confucius, Lao Tzu, Shang Tzu. Like just the first Taoism there ever was. The meat and potatoes, dude. It's like, what's your advice for metal bands, dude? Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer. Don't waste your time with everything else. Don't dig super deep and find all the other bands. It's a waste of time. I don't believe that at all for metal. That's just an example. But that's how I see Taoism. Like the really basic shit. Somebody recommended a book about like the smile meditation and the orbit meditation. Yeah, that stuff is pretty cool. And I tried to integrate it. Honestly, just really meat and potatoes meditation is my favorite kind. Today I went out on my porch while the sun was setting and stared up at a tree, and that was really nice. But I think I got a couple of bug bites on it that I've been scratching through this video. Oh my gosh, you guys, I can just really fucking ramble on and on and on and on. But that's the gist of the video, guys, is I am going to siege the dream world. Where am I at on portal maxing? You can do it in bed. You know, the whole like stare at a wall for a long time. You can try that if you want, if you really enjoy it. I got to a point where I fell out of the habit. I was like, yeah, I'm finding like I really just like don't need to crank it before bed anymore. I created that habit by doing that. You can portal max in bed before you're falling asleep. Boom. Portal maxing, integrated. I've been seeing monsters in some of my dreams. I cannot wait for the moment when I see a monster in a dream and I fucking portal max on it in a dream. That's going to be a huge moment, bro. So I'm always like thinking about spiritual stuff. I'm reading a book right now called Inner Christianity. Just kind of like a primer on Christian mysticism. Pretty cool. All stuff that I've pretty much heard before, kind of just like making sure I'm up to speed. Kind of like a good place to be like, okay, like what of this stuff do I want to kind of like hone in and focus on? Like what do I think are like the most interesting people and sects and groups being mentioned in this book? But, you know, I'm still kind of just going through the introduction. I'm interested to see what's in the rest of the book. So, and I'm reading a lot more lately. I'm getting way back into the habit of reading more. My diet is kind of getting back on point. And I think I'm going to do a real run outside tomorrow. I'm having thoughts about maybe thinking about going back to my full body weightlifting routine. That isn't so important. It's just that weightlifting is not the focus for me. I just feel like the full body weightlifting is a really great way to put it on the back burner. It actually shows really great discipline when you go really light. When you go really light on the full body, just every other day, get in there, do your one set of like a bunch of different exercises that kind of just works your entire body, and just really go light and don't try to prove any point and don't try to like show off and just go through the motions. You know, that's actually what the spiritual renaissance guy said, is like he really recommends like you just train your entire body, you know, just get every muscle working. It doesn't need to be like a PR. It doesn't need to be like setting records and be like, hey, everybody, look at me. Look how much weight I'm doing. Just kind of going through the motions, working the muscle, getting that frequency in. But maybe a couple of more times through the push-pull legs. Try to end on a pretty high note. But I think I want to really get some miles in on the runs. The pelvic floor issue slowly came back. I had it kicked for like 8 months. I fell off on the Kegels. I think the thing that's kind of recurring right now is that I need to create habits that last. Like the pelvic floor stretches and Kegels, that's not just when you have an issue. That's all the time, like for health and strength. Like having a strong pelvic floor is important for men. I recommend all you guys do Kegels. I recommend you find these half-hour full pelvic floor stretch videos and give it a shot because it's very meditative and relaxing. And I'm trying to create a lot of habits right now, man. Diet, just general training and health, and reading, building the reading back up. And then am I dreaming for like everything I do. So let it be known, chuds are taking over the dream realm. Again, this is some stuff where it's like, oh, I don't know, like I'm still part of your old Christian audience, Stoic, and I don't think you should portal max, I don't think you should lucid dream, I don't think you should meditate, I don't think you should do anything interesting ever because it's a good way for a demon to possess you. Bro, you know what's funny is that a lot of the stories of the church fathers is them being like tormented and tempted by demons. The number one way to invite demons into your life to possess you is by sinning. I'm talking like lust, pornography, smut, stealing, lying, like being a bad person. Meditating is just like, you know, sitting there with an empty, still mind. It's like, no, this is evil. La 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 la. Oh, what are the Kardashians doing? We don't want the demons to attack us. Gotta fill your head up with lots of stupid shit. Oh no, you're almost having a moment of clarity. That's evil. Come on, lots of la 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 Kardashians. Here, listen to this fucking Nickelback album. We gotta fill our heads with lots of fucking bullshit, because it's evil if you don't. Bro, like, and it's weird. Like, I'm tempted to blame Protestants for that, but this book is kind of reminding me that a lot of the secret societies, Rosicrucians, which may or may not have been real, all kinds of different Christian mysticism, they were actually Protestants. Boom. Yeah, like the Rosy Cross was already Martin Luther's symbolism, and then it became the Rosicrucian. Like, Protestants were really the ones who were creating this new renaissance of secret society, Christian mystic occultism. But then you look at like the practices of orthodoxy. A very interesting thing is that in the early debates between orthodoxy and Gnosticism, some Orthodox claimed that like they actually had the genuine method toward gnosis. And that makes a lot of sense to me when I think about, well, I still pray the rosary daily. I still pray the Jesus prayer. I still say my Catholic prayers. I love the St. Francis of Assisi prayer, and I think some of these Catholic monastery kind of guys were like very in line with Christian mysticism, gnosis, maybe a kind of Gnosticism, some more obviously than others, like Meister Eckhart. But that's pretty much that, guys. So there's some content for you. 40 minutes. Okay, that's just kind of how it goes. God bless. I'll see you for the next one. Peace out.